Man, Al Iaquinta, what a performance on Saturday. As I mentioned before, in some ways, quintessential Al, but in some other ways, a real mature, amazing, thoughtful, pressuring, but careful Al at the same time. And his coach now, I believe, joins us on the telephone, the inimitable Ray Longo. Ray, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Great. Look, I couldn't feel better, Luke. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was a great night. I'm feeling it. I feel really happy for Al. And I think you said something in your introduction. I think we did see a more mature Al, even outside of the cage. And I think that parlayed into the cage. And you saw a very patient, calculated, cool, calm, and collected Al Iaquinta.
Let's talk about the game plan now that it's already out there. What was the thought process heading into this contest?
Well, we wanted to take away the rear naked choke. I know he's a very strong grappler, so, you could see he was never really in any danger down there. I mean, Matt had him very, very properly trained. He's got so many high-level jiu-jitsu guys over there that attacked Al's neck, not every day of the week, but whenever Al was over there, that Al felt very, very confident defending, and I think it showed in the fight. And standing up-wise, I knew it would be kind of like the first fight. I didn't see any people were talking about Kevin Lee's reach. I never saw a fight where he's actually used his reach. His reach is very important when he gets his hands around the back of your legs on the cage. That's where he's really tough. He's very strong and he's got long arms, and it's hard to spread your legs out and really defend the right way. And I think that's why he sees the success. But standing up wise, he didn't evolve to a guy who's keeping you at the end of his punches. At least I've never seen it.
I didn't understand the value of his stance switching. Last week, Ray, I'm sure you saw Max Holloway and Brian Ortega. Max Holloway, when he switches stance, he's so lethal no matter what. To me, Kevin Lee, again, he's only 26 years old. I think he's got a bright future. But I didn't see the value in it. I'm not sure what it added. Do you share my assessment?
Yeah, no, it actually added nothing. If anything, it got him in trouble. Look, but Holloway's a different creature. That's the first thing. And what really makes Max Holloway really good, he don't give a shit about getting hit in the head. You hit him, he's coming back with 5. You hit Kevin Lee, he's backpedaling. You see the look in his face of confusion. You never see that with Max Holloway. So Max is a different creature than that. But no, I don't think the stance switching. I don't think it did him anything. Look, Kevin Lee's a very strong guy. He's very athletic. So when he throws hard, but it's never a combination. He's never slipping and ripping. He's not, he's not the most sophisticated striker, but he certainly is strong and he throws hard. But the stance switching, I think, did nothing it didn't confuse anybody, if that's what you're asking.
No, I didn't look like it did either. Was one thing else I noticed? Kevin said after the fight he thought he won the first 3 rounds. And let me tell you what I saw. At first I was thinking, geez, that doesn't sound right at all. I thought Al kind of ran away with it. I watched it again, and let me tell you this. I still think Al is the clear, decisive winner. But here's what I did notice. There were times when Kevin would land on Al, and Al just no-sold it. But when Al landed on Kevin, to your point, it had a big impact on him. Did you notice that as well?
I'm agreeing 100% with that. You saw it. Look, Al just kept going. You're 100% right. Al did get hit, but he never, ever looked like the guy that wasn't in control of those stand-up battles. Never, ever. I mean, he was pushing him back, and even when he did get hit, he just took it away immediately just by, his posturing and his ability to deal with getting hit and coming right back. So when Kevin got hit, it was, dramatic. So, look, winning the fact that he even says after what happened in the 4th and 5th, he's looking to eke out a victory. I mean, you can't possibly think you won that fight. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I gave Al 1, 2, 4, and 5. 2 being the close one because he did do some damage on the floor, but the last 2 minutes of that round was Al chasing the guy around again. And pot shotting them all over the place. So depending on what you're looking for, but if you're looking for damage, Al did the most damage in that fight. And he always looked like the guy that was in control. Even when he was in bad positions, he never looked like he was in any danger of getting a choke finish. The first fight was was definitely way closer than this fight, with as far as for going for the choke. But like again, if there's, it's almost like his talking. You got to back up your talk. He's the guy that looked like he didn't, evolve at all. I mean, his stand-up didn't evolve, and he did better in the first fight than he did on the second fight with as far as attacking the back.
What's crazy is Al comes out to that Sopranos theme, which was just the best. I mean, that if you didn't fist pump to that, you're probably dead inside. But then Kevin came out dancing. Man, that's usually I don't know what it is. Why is it, Ray, that when we see fighters come out dancing, sometimes they win. It's not like they always lose, but it does feel like that pre-fight dancing is a bit of a red flag.
Yeah. I listen. I don't know, but I do agree with you again on that. Yeah, I hope my guys never want to do that. But I don't know. It's you gotta stay focused, man. I don't even like any of the bullshit talking. I thought Al, handled himself like a professional after the fight. He thanked Kevin Lee, thanked Sean Shelby, Hunter Campbell. I think, like you said at the beginning, what I saw, it wasn't a physical thing. It was more of a coming of age and just maturing as a person. And, here's a kid that just really wanted to get paid for his performances. That's all. He always told me, I just want to go in there, feel good about what I'm making, and thank Sean Shelby. That's what he would tell me. You know what I mean? And here's a kid that never lets anybody down in the spotlight. His main event performance, he always comes through. He always fights with his heart. And, like he said, even in the Khabib fight, they'd still be fighting, both of them. Both of those guys would have never stopped fighting in that fight. Nobody was going to quit. And I think that's the mindset you want in a fighter.
Was Al happy with his performance after the fight?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think everybody was happy, and I have to say, he was happy. Even when you look at the end of the fight, like Al just loves to fight. I don't even think he gave a shit about winning or losing. He just really wanted to fight. And I think that was the other problem. The other guy was, if he could have eked out a decision somehow, he would have been happy with that. Al doesn't want to fight like that. He wants to fight, and then. So to answer your question, I think he was very happy with his performance.
Yeah, well, he would have to be. I would say this was his best one, in part because I do think Kevin Lee is very, very talented. Against Al, it certainly just was not enough on Saturday night. But, he's beaten some really good fighters before, like Edson Barboza, and he gave Tony Ferguson a run before things went south. And I have a lot of respect for him. And just as you mentioned, it was the maturation of skill and then the maturation of self. It was a bit of a can't-lose position for him.
Without a doubt. That's what I felt. And, look, as for when I started looking at the fight and who they fought first of all, is because I really was confused over why Al was such a big underdog. But, luckily it worked out for everybody on Long Island because they won a lot of money. But I was really, really confused. I was like, wow, what are they seeing? Are they not putting any emphasis on what this guy did with Khabib on 24-hour notice? This guy has mauled everybody, mauled them. And as far as, Kevin Lee beating Barboza, he beat Barboza after the guy got literally hammered by a grizzly bear. You know what I mean? I think he caught him at the right time. So I didn't even put any emphasis on that. And, Al had 3 rounds with Jorge Masvidal, which I thought was, who I think is one of the best fighters out there, tough as nails, skillful as hell. And I put more credence into that than what I was looking on the other side. So we felt confident going in there. But I'm just glad it worked out the way it did, because we've had so many problems with injuries and just getting people to the fights, healthy. So luckily this one worked out.
Do you think Al? I mean, you never know, right? Luck is what luck is. It's unpredictable and sometimes it's difficult. But do you feel like Al has? Do you feel like Al has his injury woes behind him for the most part?
Look, we did a great job this camp. Are they behind him completely? No, definitely not. He'll always have to deal with certain things, but I think we found the recipe how to work around him. And, he's got a great team around him now. He's got, he goes out to Staten Island with the Sports Science Institute. They really stay on top of him. He's got a couple Dr. Sherry over here in the house that watches him, every day that he's here. So he's going to need that type of monitoring. I think he's got those type of injuries. But who the hell knows, man? I've seen him with great days and I've seen him with really not good days. So to answer your questions, I really hope that it's behind him, but I can't say that positively, And, that's what, to me, it was such a great, it was just a great culmination of watching all the things that he does. Like his rehab, he's so disciplined with doing even the little band stuff and how to keep that knee and all the surrounding muscles functioning right for him. Like he's very, very disciplined, but it takes hours before and after sparring, before and after working out. I've never seen a guy that disciplined, and that's what it's going to take to go forward. So he doesn't have a lot of margin for error in the future, for sure. And, as you get older, it's going to get worse. But I think for right now, we found the recipe. And I think if he sticks to that, he's going to be, he's hell for anybody, man. You know that at this point. He's coming to fight. He's never disappointed in a fight. He's always coming forward, and not just going forward getting hit. He's coming forward making you miss and hit. And so couldn't be happier for a guy. I watched the time, and I watched, the sacrifices he's made to just get to this point.
And what's interesting is he seems to be, to your point of given his post-fight comments, he seems to be, look, Al believes what he believes, and that shouldn't change. But
exactly,
he's found a working relationship with the UFC, it seems.
I believe 100%. I mean, Al has a great family behind him, and a lot of people don't even have that luxury, So he's got really great support. He's got, great teammates and people that really like him. And I texted Sean Shelby. Sean did a great job with this guy because, trust me, they go back and forth. It's craziness, but it's craziness to the point of, comedy at this point. But Sean really stayed the course with this guy. He believed in him. He loves Al's father. And, yeah, I think they got a great working relationship. I hope that stays the course, because that took a while, man. That was those guys went back and forth and all the crap, But Al just look. At the end of the day, he just wanted to feel like he was appreciated, and he's never let anybody down with his performances. He always comes to fight. So I think they found the right thing now, and hopefully it just progresses from here on out.
Did he buy himself a lot of goodwill with that Nurmagomedov performance? Because as you noted, we've seen what Nurmagomedov does to everybody else. Al took him on short notice, and they made a strong account of himself. Plus, he did the promotion a solid. It seems like maybe they turned a corner together at that time.
Hopefully. I mean, look, it was certainly in my head, I considered it great will. You know what I mean? It wasn't even goodwill. It was, I think he really did a great job stepping up. And again, against it, I don't know. I put so much emphasis on that fight because I guess I know I trained him for 3 rounds, and I was like going into that fight, I'm like, this is insanity. You know what I mean? But if anybody could do it, it's Al. And I don't know. I put a lot of credit on that, and I hope the UFC did. Maybe you're right. Maybe that's what turned the corner. But it's all good, man. There's a lot of good things, not just the win. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things on the periphery that also happen that I'm just glad to see, the relationships and some of the other stuff, and just, overcoming adversity with the injuries and just watching it culminate into a great performance on the last Fox card ever. You know what I mean? Which I heard the ratings were pretty high.
Yeah, they were the best in 2 years for overnights, which is a great thing to see. Last thing about Al, what's funny is I still think the Raging nickname is appropriate because look at what a ferocious competitor he is. He was in Kevin Lee's face right after the last bell sounded, but then they stick a microphone in his face and he was ever the statesman. So, I think sometimes Al, it's true though, but don't you? I was there in Fairfax when he yelled at the crowd after the Masvidal fight. I'm not saying Al doesn't have a little bit of that left in him, but it seems to me he can channel it more appropriately.
Hey, listen, look, when I explain killer instinct to people, not that I explain, I mean, wherever I got it from, but it's got to be like a light switch. You got to be able to turn it on and turn it right off. You can't walk around like a lunatic 24 hours a day. So you have to know how to really bring it on at an instant and get rid of it at an instant. And I think that's what you saw. He was raging for the last 10 seconds of that fight. And he went right back to, you don't want a lunatic on the mic. And then he handled himself. Again, a statesman's a pretty cool analogy. And then he ran calm, cool, and collective. And, thanking Kevin Lee, was in the moment, knew exactly what was going on. And that was, like you said, right after, screaming in his face, same Al. with his hands down, with no regard for whatever this guy could throw at him. I think, man, that's the stuff movies are made out of. I mean, I think that's going to live on forever.
Who should he fight next?
Now, I like to see him, I really like to see him fight Conor next. I don't think Conor deserves the Khabib rematch at all. And it looks like they're going to give Ferguson, Khabib, which is 100% fair. That makes, fair sense. Not everything is, this, Luke, not everything is fair sense. It's money sense. And, but I'd like to see Al get a big money fight against a great guy who could, bring a lot of eyeballs to pay-per-view. I think that would be great. I think Al deserves it. And I think that's a great matchup. I'd love to see it. I'd love to be a part of it.
Now, I think Al matches up with him well in the cage. But as you know, man, there are some depths that Conor will sink to promote a fight. Does Al really want that in his life?
Wait a minute, Luke. You know what? I think I take that back. I don't even think I want that in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you're making I'd rather run for political office than have that guy researching doing my background check. But yeah, I don't think Al gives a shit. I think it's all good. And I think Conor knows who he can get away with that shit with and who he can't. He's a street kid. So I think it'll be to no avail. And yeah, that's all good stuff. I think, it's entertainment at the end of the day. I really don't take anything personal at this point. And I don't think, Al just wants to fight. It's almost like what he did with Kevin Lee. Same Al. That's what you want to say. And now's your time to do it. It's put up or shut up.
He said he was interested in a fight against Tony Ferguson. Now, of course, I could mention all these fights, and you'll probably say you like them.
Yeah.
But outside of Conor, that seems like that could be a really interesting fight for Al.
That's a great fight. That would be I think Ferguson. Look, I got Ferguson up there. Ferguson is unbelievable. So that's a great challenge for Al. But I think I think Ferguson does deserve the fight with Khabib. So, I mean, I'm just going based on that. I mean, Al's going to take any fight. I think he deserves a big fight for sure, either way it goes. But I think Ferguson really deserves. I mean, I think the Khabib fight is the way to go because Ferguson's. I mean, what else can that guy do in the division? I think it's only fair to give him a title fight. And but if it has to be Al for some reason, then that's fine. That's great.
Real quickly, let me just pick your brain on that. Who wins in a Tony Ferguson Khabib Nurmagomedov fight?
I'm going to tell you something, man. You'd have to give me more time to think about it. That's not a done deal. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, I got to tell you, because Ferguson has the gas tank to survive on the floor and to get up and keep pushing the action. And it looks like Khabib always takes a round off, like round 3 or 4, which normally, I know what Al was telling me after the first 2 rounds, his arms were dead from defending that guy. So whoever can get up off the floor and still have enough juice in there, stand up to press the action is a problem for Khabib.
Before we let you go, real quickly, I know Chris Weidman had a bit of a rough run in his last contest. You never want to change something that's not broken, but I do wonder how you feel about him in a potential move to 205 pounds. Is that something as a trainer you think would be beneficial for him?
It's funny. We were just talking about weight cuts a little while ago. I mean, these guys really kill themselves making the weight. So I think that's a potential thing, but he's scheduled for surgery on his neck again, December 26th. He definitely scheduled it. They're going to see if it doesn't have to be, it won't be. But, he's got some injuries, man, that he's going to have to deal with that are really coming back to bite him in the ass, I think. So 205, and you never know. And those injuries could be a result of, making the weight and dehydrating your body and, not being 100%, in that regard. So 200, I think it's a possibility, but we never really sat down and talked about it. But, I think it's worth entertaining. But right now, for me, I just want to see a healthy Chris Weidman for anything, just in general. And that's for all my guys at this point. This sport is unforgiving, man. And these guys, their bodies go through hell. You know what I mean? And I think that's where even Al was coming for wanting to get paid. It's not look, this ain't an easy sport. Nobody's, you could see by some of the older guys now that are starting to retire. they're not getting out of there unscathed. You know what I mean? So these guys deserve to make money. They know the risk and rewards. And yeah, if 205 is going to make him healthier, then I'm 100% for it.
Well, I got to tell you, Iaquinta looked amazing on Saturday. I think he woke up a lot of people, surprised some, confirmed the beliefs of others, and you guys did a fantastic job getting him ready. Ray, I really appreciate your time. I take my hat off to you and can't wait to see what you guys over there in Long Island have cooked up next.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Luke, for having me on. Really great. Good luck with the show. I hope it's going great for you.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. We'll see you on the road, I'm sure.